Earlier I made a short. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Earlier I made a short about the worst feeling ever being not knowing how you feel, and like the confusion, There's a quote in the Bible. It's 2 Timothy 1:7, and it says, God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And I like to think that the word fear can also be interchanged with the word confusion, because it's saying, God didn't give us this, instead he gave us a sound mind. So the opposite of that would be confusion to me. And when I don't feel confused? When I'm talking to my daughter. She's 4. I never feel confused talking to her. She says whatever she means. She says whatever she's thinking about. Even if she doesn't really understand what she's talking about, I can understand what she's talking about because I'm older than 4. When you feel confused in your daily life, I've come to find that it's for a reason. And it's not of God. It's because somebody is manipulating you, or someone is gaslighting you, or confusing you, or trying to convince you that something is that it's not. They're trying to pull the wool over your eyes. And whether that someone be a partner or a job or the government or anything, if you feel confused, it's because whatever you're confused about is a lie. And sometimes that's hard for our brains to grapple with, because if we admit that it's a lie, then we lose out on the hope of what we want to be true. And usually, if you're confused, it's because you're trying to fight with your own brain to justify a behavior or a story. When someone calls you a bitch to your face, you're not confused. You're like, oh, I'm a bitch, fuck you. I'm mad. I don't like you now. You're an enemy of mine. But when someone you love, or a truth that you hold dear to you, is starting to confuse you, and you just can't really understand why it doesn't make sense, like there's just something that feels off about it, it's because you don't know the whole story. When people come to me and want advice, and they start telling their side of the story, and then they want advice, I can easily say, I can't give advice on this because I don't know the whole story. There's parts of this that I'm not being told because this story doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm intelligent. I've lived a lot of life. I know what the fuck is going on. So when you're telling me a story and it doesn't make any sense to me, but you want advice on how to fix it, come back to me when you're ready to tell me all of the story, all the details, the whole thing. And then I can give you advice from a sound mind. I can, I'm very intuitive. I would say I'm psychic. And I can see when somebody asks me a question, I can see every avenue of that energy. when they present something to me, I can see in infinite directions how that story unfolds. So if somebody comes to me and wants advice on something and I can't see how it's unfolding, then I don't have all the details, because it would make sense and I would be able to see if I did. And typically it's because people are embarrassed about part of the details and they don't want me to know the whole truth, because who am I? I'm not part of it. They're just asking me for advice. So, but that's fine. But I can't give advice on something that I don't know a whole truth about, because I'm going to give you the wrong advice, because I'm just like, I'm giving advice with holes. So when I'm feeling confusion in my day-to-day life, when I'm confused about giving myself advice, it's not a good sign, guys. Because it means that I don't have the whole truth. And there's parts I'm not being told, and that's why I feel confused. And it sucks, because that happens when you think you know the truth, or you really want to know the truth, because whatever the truth is, I'm an understanding and forgiving person. Like I said, I've seen a lot of shit. I've been through a lot of experiences, and I don't judge anyone. I don't judge anyone, because I've probably done it. I've probably been there. I've probably made the same decision. I've probably fucked up just as bad or worse. I can't judge anyone. So when I feel confused, this is a note to myself that it's for a reason. It's because I'm not being presented with all the information, or else I wouldn't be confused. And that sucks, guys. We should just be authentic. Be open. Tell people the truth. Because confusion is of the devil. It's a satanic energy. It doesn't feel good in our soul. It doesn't feel like divine love and understanding and acceptance. It feels like torture. It feels like torture. And if you feel confused about part of your life, I wish you the best. I wish you a speedy exit. Because our hearts love to tie strings. They love to create energetic tethers. But it's not fair for us to feel confused. We're wasting our precious life. So many people I know are dying right now. So many people that I know on a day-to-day basis that I see all the time. Everybody, in fact, every single person you've ever met in your whole life is currently dying. Slowly or quickly, to be determined, but we're all dying. And to waste moments, hours, days, feeling confused, feeling like you just keep going over the details over and over, and they just like don't quite add up, and you can't figure out why, but it just feels off, and it's starting to hurt your heart because you just want to be past it. You just want it to be better. You just want to be happy again. You just want to feel carefree. Like, you should be able to. we really need to stop affecting people like that, because we are all running out of time. And it's not fair for other people. It's just not fair, you know? It's like, if I decide I'm not happy in this relationship, I don't want to be here anymore, once I decide that, like, that's it. I will just sit you down and say, hey, I don't want to be with you anymore. I'm not happy in this relationship. I'm really sorry that this is going to hurt your feelings, but I can't do this anymore. I am wasting my energy, my life, moments that I will never get back in a relationship that I don't want to be in, and I'm really sorry. And I'm sorry that you're now in this relationship that I don't want to be in. And I'm sorry that now you're going to have to grieve, or maybe you won't. But either way, like, I want us to both move on as quickly as possible, because we're wasting our life. You know, like, that is a common decency that people really just don't get anymore. They just, like, want to, like, lead people on because it's hard to tell the truth, or they need a backup plan, or, you know, they don't want to make the full jump. They just want to dip their toe into, you know, sly shit. Why? Why? It's stupid. It's a waste of time. So, with the time you have left, don't allow people to make you confused. And don't confuse other people. Be straight up. Be authentic. Pretend everybody has telepathy and say what you mean. Mean what you say. And if you do that, we might live in a better world sooner than later. Bye, guys.